Coldefell Productions, back with another video. And as you can see, Lego trains. Okay, right? So I was making a video. So I was watching some videos, and I was thinking I was kind of seeing like made up characters and all that, right? It's like I had an idea for a long time, right? About my own sort of series like that, right? So it's like after this has basically been since I think around when my YouTube channel started. Not I didn't have this idea because of so I could have a YouTube channel. It mostly just kind of happened by accident, so to speak. Anyway, right? So it's it kind of all started, right? One day, it's okay, let me just take this one out because it's this comes in later, right? So it all started, right? I had made this, right? It's supposed to be an American type diesel engine, right? I'm sure you can see that shape. And then it's I was using Legos, and I was you know what? I'm gonna make a Lego Arthur, and this is what this is meant to be, a Lego Arthur, right? Since Arthur is possibly one of my favorite characters in the entire Thomas and Friends series, besides others that you guys probably won't like because it's super oh my god, everybody likes that character, sort of thing. Anyway, right? So it's and it was yeah, it's it doesn't really make sense, right? But then it's what the Arthur, what this is meant to be. I'm just playing with this, right? It's it kind of developed into its own personality apart from the strict sort of Arthur you see in Thomas and Friends, to more of a boastful, ignorant, sort of upset type character, and I kind of made it my own. And this Green Diesel, I when I first made this one, I called him Dave. And, me and my friend gave them both faces. Yeah. So then I kind of made it. It's you know what? I'm gonna make a railway for these guys, so they can have their own railway and sort of thing. It's that's what I did, right? I didn't know what to call it, so I called it the Heffern Railway. At first, it was in just a random location somewhere in Britain, but then to make it so I actually know where it is, I decided to move it to Sodor. But this was after a long line of This was after a long line of characters, and some of which I've forgotten. I'm pretty sure there was some tank engines that I might have forgotten, and maybe a tender engine too. Right? Anyway, so basically the Heffern Railway, it runs between Vickerstown, up the coast to Great Waterton, then up and kind of cuts straight to Harwick. And it's if you guys don't know, there's if you look at some maps of Sodor, right? There's a town on the top of Sodor called Balswin, I think. That's how I pronounce it. And it's it goes to there, and I also made up two other towns along the north of Sodor called Farkley and Bailey. Those are actually Sudric words, which means sea and town respectively. I cannot remember which is which at the time. So if you guys don't know, Sudric is the language of the native language of Sodor, but it's fallen out of use and all that. And I've actually made up a whole chorus of characters. There's 16 in total, I think. I will go into those guys another day, but here's kind of the history of Arthur, my version of Arthur and Dave. So in this universe, right, it takes place in the Railway series universe, right? It's the Sodor and Mainland Railway, Wellsworth and Sudbury Railway, and etc., right? Basically, the Heffern Railway started as it was the Northwestern Railway. It was kind of around that had just been formed, right? From the merger of all the other railway companies on Sodor. And it was because it had been so good for the south of Sodor, the north side of it wanted some of it too, and a wealthy man named Andrew Heffern came along, and and made a railway called the Heffern Railway. It originally just extended between Vickerstown, up along the coast to Bailey, then up farther to Harwick, and in my universe, Harwick up the coast to Great Waterton. In my universe, Great Waterton and Harwick are major towns, like they're kind of cities technically now, to the way I've developed them. So it's like, and that was because of the Heffern Railway, and it's like, and I don't know if you guys may know, but there's a character in Thomas and Friends, well, not really Thomas and Friends, but the Railway series, called Winston, Eagle, the Red Engine. Those are all the names I'm aware of, right? And in this universe, I'm calling him Winston, and basically, right, he isn't like how he appears in the Railway series, pushing Henry out of the tunnel, right? What I'm thinking, right, is that like he was actually a 060, not a 260, like James. And that picture was just based off James by the Reverend W. Audrey and all that, in my universe. And he was actually bought by the Heffern Railway to help as the first engine. And Arthur here is actually number 2. And he was the first of Sir William Stanier's, the person who built locomotives for the LMS. He was actually the first large passenger tank he built, and basically that's what it was. That's like, and like as newer engines came along, he became like a pediment to progress, sort of. I mean, he wasn't needed anymore, and it's like, and I've actually like the reason this was done, right? You see the gray down on the bottom, right? The reason that was done is because I needed to fill in this gap, and I didn't know how to do it efficiently, so I just did this. And I've actually, like, that's how I draw Arthur now. And the reason for that, it was supposed to be easy maintenance, but it was actually just giving the firebox access to cold air and made it hard for him to steam up sometimes. That's my story, at least. So he was sold to the Heffern Railway, and then, like, basically he worked there. And it's like, I will continue, like, the series, like, right? But like basically like here's the host of engines I've got. There's Winston, right? And there's Arthur here, Dave, of course. Oh yes, and wait, I forgot about this one. Anyway, this like I'm sure you've seen like these before, right? Where it's like people basically make up characters and like it's kind of themselves as a Thomas and Friends character. This is basically my version. It's a Johnson 3F it's supposed to be like Somerset and Dorset Joint Railway Blue. But this is the best I could do. Anyway, he's supposed to be a Johnson 3F, and he was actually saved by Sir Topham Hatt after escaping from scrap, and then as he was being rebuilt, as he was being like repaired and rebuilt, the Heffern Railway needed him, and they bought him basically, and the reason he wears NWR is because that's like he kind of holds. Like my character here kind of holds that as his like savior, sort of like the Northwestern Railway. Anyway, like the characters that are on the Heffern Railway is Arthur, Dave, my me train, called Dylan, right? Then there's also Harvey. He's a Lancashire and Yorkshire Railway passenger engine, right? It's like I'm sure like you've seen them before. It's like kind of like Albert from the Railway series, except from the Lancashire and Yorkshire, and he's like kind of modified to have a larger coal capacity boiler and tanks, and so he has external cylinders and he's actually a 244 instead of a 242. And there's also Martin, an industrial shunter built by Andrew Barclay and Co. And he was sold to the Heffern Railway to like shunt and build the line. 57, who's a 5700 pannier tank. He's actually number 5742, and he came after Duck. Like my story is that they arrived at the same time, and like they're brothers and things. He came to operate a quarry branch at Bailey. And there's Princess Anna, a a Princess Royal that was was bought by the railway because they needed an express engine. There's also Penn, an experimental Southern Railway mogul, and Desmond, a British Railways 08 class diesel shunter that works at Great Waterton at like shunting trucks for an interchange. I'll explain that later. Jackson, an LMS Garrett who takes wood trains from the interchange. There's also Jimmy. He's an LMS Fowler dock tank who basically just helps with shunting all around the line. I'm sure I'm forgetting one. No, I think that's it. Oh wait, there's also the narrow gauge engines, right? Which is kind of like a part of the Heffern Railway, but sort of isn't. Like there's 4 engines on the line, right? There's Terry, he's a tender engine, and he actually has a similar design to Renee's, except without those tanks in the front, and he has a tender instead. John, and he's like he has a similar design to Sir Handel, except he's a bit longer and has 3 sets of driving wheels instead of 2. David, an American narrow gauge engine that was sold to the Heffern Railway for logging purposes, and George, who helps work with 57 at the mines by like shunting around like in the mine shafts. And the interchange is actually for the Heffern Railway narrow gauge, as I have called it, that runs from Great Waterton up and around to the top of Peel Godred. There's also a logging company along that line that I've made up called the Great Waterton Logging Co. And that's what the interchange is for. The narrow gauge engines, mostly John, bring down logs to Great Waterton where they're put on the standard gauge trucks, and Jackson takes them away. Yeah, so that's basically all about my made up railway. I would start a series, but I don't have the correct number of engines and everything like that. Yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this. It was kind of like a little explanation thing that I've made up. It's like this is over the course of I think quite a few years, and basically wanted to show it to you guys because I've been wanting to do this for a long time, but I haven't really had enough stuff to do it, and I still don't really. I kind of want to make customs of the engines, so then it would make it more realistic and stuff. Yeah, so I hope you guys enjoy this little history of my made-up railway, and yeah. So I'll see you guys in the next video, whenever that'll be. Leave comments if you want to see more of these characters, like a full in-depth history of like Arthur, Dave, and Dylan, I guess, right? Or if you want to see other things like, oh, what's the history of insert name here, like in your world, sort of, right? So yeah, see you guys in the next video, and bye-bye.